Welcome to a podcast of total terror. Night of the Nerdy Laser.
Welcome, everybody, to Night of the Nerdy Laser podcast. It's October, baby, and we are talking about Wreck from 2007, the Spanish found footage movie. I am your host, as always, Richard. Pablo, put the fucking camera down for fuck's sake, or whatever she says.
He's going hard. I'm Jeff Lown.
I put too many fucks in there, as usual.
Yeah.
I'm very excited. This is Halloween season, and we decided, did we do the Saw for Halloween?
No, we did Saw for episode 100.
100. Okay.
Then we snuck in Saw 10 or whatever it was.
That's right.
Saw 9.
I don't know, did we have a theme last year? No.
I don't think so. I'll look, but I don't think so.
Well, our theme is Wreck. We're talking Wreck, Wreck 2, Wreck 3, and Wreck 4. Wreck 3 is Genesis, Wreck 4 is Apocalypse, and it's not all on this one episode, so don't worry.
And, if you're a bigger fan of the American remakes, we're covering those too, but we're going to bundle those and then do an episode.
Yeah, we're going to have two double features for this month. We are doing, like Jeffrey said, Quarantine and Quarantine Terminal. And we're going to do Scooby-Doo and Scooby-Doo Monsters Unleashed. So I'm very excited about that. The two really good live-action movies written by James Gunn, if you didn't know. Now you know.
Seems like he's has his hands in everything.
Well, he did back then, and back then he was making stuff, but he wasn't like James Gunn,
Yeah.
I mean, he just wrote it. He didn't direct it.
But
you can see his hands all over. But I can't wait to talk about that. I've watched them both recently, and they're just really, really fun. Not talked about enough, so that'll be that'll be on Halloween. That drops on Halloween. So
yeah, this month we're bringing you guys lots of bonus episodes, lots of episodes in general, because it's a 5.
Blame Jeff.
Yeah, Richard loves it, and we're gonna have a guest on at one point too. Anyway,
are we?
Yeah. For our yearly movie that Richard hates.
That's not in October. I'm not doing that in October. I did not agree to that.
It's happening. Anyway, I was looking real quick while you were talking. I think we just kind of had like some of our favorite stuff last year. So we did Hatchet, Cujo, Phantoms. Corey was on for that another episode, and then we did for the Halloween bonus. We did Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 and 2. So that was fun. I mean, I like those movies. If you guys want to know how much I like those movies, go back and listen to the episode. Won't hurt you.
Yeah. I mean, it might, but
it probably will.
knowing us. All right. So I got show and tell, baby.
I do too.
This is from about a month ago, I think. Ish. But it's a Frankenstein comic book released by Image and Skybound. Yeah.
Pretty
Michael
cool.
Walsh and Tony Murray Griffin, and it is Universal Monsters Frankenstein.
I saw that logo up top. I thought it was licensed and all that.
Licensed and really cool old school art. I have not read it yet. It's been in my pile, so that's a cool scene.
There's a slot machine at the casinos with Frankenstein. And
so if you're looking at the YouTube video, you can see some of the pictures I'm showing and what we have. You can follow us on Night of the Nerdy Laser. If not, you don't have to, but you'll miss out on some goodies.
You will.
And this book is kind of one of the reasons I stopped collecting comics, kind of.
Oh, why is that?
Because, Jeff, can you see this? Hold on.
Is it the price you're trying to show me? something $6.99.
It's $4.99.
For a weekly, monthly. What are we talking on?
I mean, it's a monthly comic, and it might be short. I don't know. It doesn't say one of whatever. But I mean, most comics are $5.99. Some are $7.99. Like the first issue on some of the Marvel ones, I think are $7.99.
Yeah.
And then I mean, some are $3.99. But I mean, I had to stop. I'm not reading them like I should. I'm not enjoying them like I should. Me and Jeff are kind of purging stuff, so
We are.
So yeah, I mean, this is recorded late, but I'm going to a toy show this week and setting up trying to sell some of my stuff. So
yeah, I think you'll do good.
Maybe I got to put some more stuff together, I think, but yeah, just going through the comics and that it's a lot.
My favorite part of you doing this is just the random stuff you'll send me pictures of.
Random
You'll
shit,
be like, hey, look at this thing I got. Like, why? What would you have that for? That's simply amazing that you have that, but I don't understand it. It's funny.
Yeah. That's basically what you could say about my entire collection is why the fuck do you have that?
No, it's good. I tried to keep to a few different things. I don't know how many times I've told myself I'm into Hot Wheels cars, and then I sell all of them.
I can't do Hot Wheels anymore. I can't do cars in general. I try to stay the fuck out.
The only ones, because I had a bunch. I sold all those. That one time I purged everything last time, and then I was like, I'm done with those. And then all of a sudden I had like 60 more on my wall, and I was like, what? How do I trick myself into doing this? And I was like, because they're $1, so you go to the store and you grab one, and then all of a sudden you have 60 cars on your wall. But I'm keeping my Fast and Furious ones that are like licensed Fast and Furious.
That's
Other
cool.
than that, the rest are gone. So
I like some of those. I have some of those monster trucks. Same reason. Like I have, I'm keeping some of them. Like I have the Bigfoot monster truck that's like licensed.
Yeah, that was cool.
And I won't get rid of it because I love Bigfoot.
Get Gravedigger.
I don't have Gravedigger.
Yeah, well, now you got to go look for it.
No. I did buy a Hot Wheels the other night for my niece because she loves Hot Wheels, and I saw one and I thought she'd like it. So
nice. Was it the Barbie car?
No, she likes cars. Like her dad.
Oh, okay.
Her dad works on cars, so I think she, that's their connection, kind of. So she just likes the actual Hot Wheel cars. I mean, I'll take her to Target and I'll be like, you can pick anything out, $20, whatever. She'll just get like 4 cars.
Hey, good. That's good.
And cheaper for me.
I see when I'd go look, there would be a few collectors with like their dad and daughter combo always looking. I always think that's a cool connection to have.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have 2 things I want to show actually, because I'll do the same thing for our next episode, but I got 2 things. Do you have one more you got to show, or are you good for your show?
No, I'm done. Well, I do, but it's more related to our.
All right, so let's see. I got 2 things to show. First one is this book here that is
The Glare.
It's let's see. There we go. John Waters.
Oh, John Waters. Okay.
Yeah, so it's a John Waters book, and I think it's the one where he kind of covered. I think in this one, I was listening to a podcast, and they had mentioned it, and they told about how John Waters was like fascinated with the Manson family trials. So he wanted to like cover it, and he was like in the courtroom every single day, like listening to testimonies and seeing the family and stuff like that. And I think he mentions it in that book for sure. But he's just an interesting guy, and I think the book would be pretty interesting. It's not like a fiction book, so if you're not into the universe, it's just kind of little snippets of stuff you could read, and makes it a little easier to kind of pick up and put down at your leisure. So I ended up getting that. And then I got this during the most recent Friday the 13th.
Oh, enamel pen.
A nice little Roy there. But I got that one through Rat Knife. which is like the only one I really consistently get them through anymore, because every time I ask you and Corey, like, where do you guys get your pins? I think he always says, like, what does he always say?
Pinsploitation.
Pinsploitation, knee-high horror, stuff like that. And then I go to look, and either everything's sold out, or it seems like the sites haven't been updated in a long time. So I'm like, I don't know about that. So, yeah, but that's my show and tell.
That's cool. Yeah. You really like enamel pins, don't you?
Yeah, those are one thing I did go through like a crazy phase getting a bunch of them, but then I also sold them all off. So
I have a bunch, but and at one time I put them all over my backpack. They looked really cool. And then we were going on vacation, and I was going to the airport, and I was terrified that they weren't going to let me take it on the plane and make me like throw the pins away or some shit.
yeah.
So I just took them all off, and God knows where they are now. And
Well, one I always try to remember and never can. It was one that you bought when I was there, and you showed me, and I think it was Pearl.
Oh yeah,
who were those through? Was that Pinsploitation?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, the black and white one, color one. Yeah, she does. Yeah.
Yeah, you had a bunch of variants on it.
Yeah, great work. And they're big. I mean, they're usually like, I don't know what.
They just did one of Angela from Sleepaway Camp. I don't know if you could see, but
oh yeah,
with the curling iron in her hand, which is kind of funny.
That's a pen.
Yeah.
They should have a pin where it where she's like holding the head over her junk, and then like she moves it.
Yeah. Did you ever see the light switch those guys made from?
Yeah.
With the naked Angela and the switches.
Yeah. Do you know who Joey Ryan is or was?
Mm-mm.
He was an indie wrestler. He got caught up in the Me Too wrestling movement and kind of vanished. I think he's an actor, trying to be an actor now.
Mm-hmm.
But he was the viral wrestler that like people grabbed a hold of his junk, and he would go like he would flex, and then
and it would like flip the people over. Yeah. I've seen that. Okay.
Well, I have a pin somewhere. I'll have to look for it, but it's him, and then it has a guy, and that flips back and forth.
Leave it to wrestling to do something like that. Was that like his move? He just did that. Is that like
I mean, that's what got him famous. I mean, that's what he went viral for, and he did it every time.
Oh, that reminds me of like Orange Cassidy, where he just stood there with his hands in his pockets, acting cool. And
I mean, a little bit. I mean, but Joey Ryan was really good. Like, he was a good wrestler. And
is Orange Cassidy still in AEW?
Orange Cassidy is, yeah. Joey Ryan was on the first All In.
Oh, really?
When it was just like an independent show. And you know how like Undertaker would have all these like people in cloaks come out?
Yeah.
They had all these penises, like inflatable penises come out.
So stupid. God dang. Oh my God. Simply amazing. And that wasn't Vince McMahon's idea. That's the even better part.
That is the amazing part. Well, speaking of penises
and wrestling
and Jeff's immortal enemy in wrestling.
Yeah.
We can't go through an episode without mentioning our friend Jason down at the dungeon. He's a big supporter of ours, and we are of his. If you don't know what the dungeon is, it's this magical place that has all sorts of physical media stuff, things you can put your hands on, not penises. Well, I mean, I can't verify that they don't have any, but I mean, not openly. But They do have vinyl records. They've got laser discs. Do you even know what laser discs are? Comment if you know what a laser disc is. I challenge you. They also have VHS, DVDs, Blu-rays, 4Ks, boutique labels such as TerraVision, Vinegar Syndrome, and all the other cool labels we love. They've got video games. They just got this sweet fire orange N64 that looks just beautiful. Some really good stuff going out right now. Now you're asking yourself, well, where can I find this dungeon? Well, if you're in Maryville or in the Knoxville area of Tennessee, you can go find East Broadway and the roundabout. You'll be able to, trust me. You'll circle around. You'll see the Southland Books and Cafe. You'll drive around the back, and the dungeon is there. You don't live here. That's okay too. You can go to Southland_dungeon and follow him on Instagram and Facebook. He posts all this stuff, like some really cool stuff. He posted some awesome stuff today that I can't remember, but I was like, holy shit, that's awesome. And you could say the same thing by following Southland_dungeon and Instagram and Facebook. And I know Jason appreciates it, and we appreciate you. If you see something you like, just send him a message. Tell him you heard about him on our show, and he will give you a deal. And if he doesn't, no, I'm just kidding. But if he doesn't, let me know, and I'll send Jeff after him.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Well, that's it. No.
Yeah.
2007 was in the middle of a magical year, Jeff.
Yeah.
Or in this magical time, I should say, where like foreign horror was just popping, man. 2005 to 2010, wouldn't you say? And I don't really know the dates of these movies, so they might not be in this time frame. But I mean, you've got stuff like Cold Prey, Dead Snow, Wreck. You've got Martyrs.
Yeah, so America during this time was kind of doing their Ghost House Pictures stuff, the After Dark Horror Fest stuff. So we're getting smaller
films
stuff.
to die for.
8 films to die for. Yeah, that's the Horror Fest. So we were kind of doing that. Horror was honestly in a really good spot for me. I loved all those movies. They might have not been the best, but I liked being able to go to Walmart and grabbing like 3 or 4 of them on DVD. And then just kind of going home and watching them, being like, that one was all right. And it felt like I was, at like a midnight screening or something. I got to watch like 2 or 3 movies, and then I'd talk to my friends or something about it. I didn't have many friends. I still don't. But like, I'd talk to a few people about it, and they'd be like, yeah, that was cool or whatever, people in school. And
you were like, how awesome was Butterfly Effect 3?
Where was Ashton Kutcher? But yeah, no, so those were good, but like you're saying, foreign horror was really like kicking off because we came out of the late 90s. Yeah, Wolf Creek. Like we came out of the 90s from like the Dark Castle stuff. Not Dark Castle, but whatever the studio is that like was tributing. They did like House on Haunted Hill, and it was like remakes, a bunch of remakes.
The William Castle stuff.
Yeah. Dark Castle, that's what it was called. The studio that put all those things out. Sometimes I remember things. Sometimes I don't. But so we had that. Then it was that stuff. And then foreign horror really like took off and kind of took over, honestly. It was just brutal, aggressive, like over the top gore, like storylines that are just wild. And like there's a lot of good movies that came out of there at that point. But yeah, a lot of it was Europe and stuff like that. There was a lot of Asian horror that was kind of big at the time, but these kind of came out of nowhere, the Wreck movies, and like blew everybody away, honestly, and for good reason. Like, and we'll get into
a little bit since found footage, right? So like Blair Witch Project.
Yeah, it was Blair Witch.
Did Blair Witch Project start this? Like, it didn't start a found footage thing, right? Like, usually something is really good, and so it starts that trend.
So
it didn't really happen that way.
No, it was like Blair Witch, and then a gap, and then like this stuff. But it did pick up again because What Paranormal
Well,
Activity
yeah, I mean,
came
yeah,
out,
now.
and Paranormal Activity came out in '07. This came out in '07, and then that really kicked it off. But like the first like ones would probably, what's that one they always say? The Poughkeepsie tapes. Do they always say that one was kind of
Yeah.
footage? And there was another one they always say too. And people always, it was right around the time of Blair Witch, and I just don't remember what it is right now. Like I said, sometimes I remember, sometimes I don't. But it was right around that time, and they always say those were kind of like the two competing. The Last Broadcast, I think, is what
I've
it
never
was.
even fucking heard of that.
So 101 Studios put it out, but we should definitely watch it. Not well, maybe we could do it for the show, but they always say that one came out and Blair Witch kind of just because that was out in 1998. Yeah,
It was like Stir of Echoes and The Sixth Sense.
exactly. And one always gets the short end of the stick on those.
When did Ghostwatch come out?
99 or maybe before that. That can't be right. Ghostwatch came out 92.
I thought it was older. So, I mean, then that was huge in the UK. Like, that was a big deal over there.
Then we got WNUF.
You got Cannibal Holocaust that, you know, technically, I mean, it's a found footage film and a movie in one, sort of.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's not made to feel real. Really, I mean, because you get a movie part, you know. I mean, what they're watching is real, I guess, but you're not seeing it in like real time, like most found footage movies.
Yeah, that's true.
It's almost like a documentary, but yeah, Rec. I mean, if you don't have this, Screen Factory put this out, and it's the Rec collection. It's got all 4 Blu-ray. So, I mean, and each one has special features. I'd really like to go back and listen to the special features on some of the stuff, because or read. So that's the other thing you have to be wary about, is you're going to be reading. And here's a helpful reminder to take your subtitles off, because if not, you're just fighting the whole damn movie.
You're words over words.
Yes, and sometimes they would line up and sometimes they wouldn't. So sometimes it was okay, but then other times you're like, what the fuck did that say? It took me till the second movie to realize that was happening.
Oh, that's great. Were you watching your Blu-rays, or were you watching on Tubi?
Jeff, we don't do that here. We find it streaming and we watch it on Tubi.
Yeah, so at the time of this,
all the ones are streaming. So if I watch I could watch them. I have a 4K player now, but part of the problem now is I don't have a speaker for it. I don't know how to hook it up to my speaker because I'm stupid. So it's really bad audio. So if it's streaming, I might as well just stream it.
Yeah. And I mean, I kind of like that idea of streaming these 3 on Tubi, or these 4 on Tubi, especially because Tubi will just start the next movie. So it kind of works perfect for the first 2.
I'm glad I didn't fall asleep, because I'd be like, what the hell?
I'm surprised you didn't.
Oh, no. You really can't in these movies. I think they're great. I mean, rewatching the first 2, just as good as I remembered them. We're going to talk a little bit, like we already have, about Rec, so you can get an idea, and then we're going to go into spoiler territory. So we'll mention that when we head that way. Yeah. But I've only seen the first 3. I've never seen Apocalypse.
Oh, okay, cool. That'll be interesting. I'm curious to what you think about it when we get there. But
is it good?
I don't know.
Do you like it?
I don't have a problem with it, but I'm pretty lenient sometimes.
I mean, the series dies after that, right? I mean, it doesn't really do anything.
Yeah, and I'm kind of glad it does, to be honest with you, because then we'd be in the same position as Paranormal Activity, where we're on like the 7th or 8th one of those, and we didn't need to be at the 7th or 8th one of those. But man, I love the marked ones. I love the marked ones.
I've only seen the first Paranormal Activity.
Ooh, all right, I got an idea. I'll talk to you after the show.
Fuck you.
Ah,
I'm not watching 9 Paranormal
ah,
Activity movies.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Not after what you're doing to me this October. Jesus.
I mean, I'm working us like we're getting paid to do this.
I know.
Sorry, but this one.
We're
So
not.
this one,
Trust me.
yeah. So this one was directed by. I don't know. I'm gonna butcher the name. Wame Balaguero and Paco Plaza, but I think mostly people know Paco Plaza as the director of this one.
I got you.
He's done this, and I believe he did that other movie for Netflix, the one that all the stupid posts. It's like people were passing out. It was so scary they threw up, stuff like that. He did.
Yeah,
he directed.
A new one.
Yeah, it's a newer one. It was
The Deliverance.
No, not that one. He did Veronica, which was another like possession movie.
No, I never heard of it.
Yeah, so I think it has a sequel or like a prequel called Sister Death. I do want to check that one out. I don't know if he was involved. Oh yeah, he directed that too. So, yeah. Anyway, but he did that. Obviously, he's more known for the wreck movies. I want to say he did. Yeah, he did do another one. I bought a 3-pack because I heard he was involved in it. It was I bought it on Vudu because you could only get it streaming. It doesn't have any physical releases, but just the concept sounded interesting to me. It was him, one other like well-known director, and then another guy I hadn't heard of. I'm trying to pull it up here while talking so I sound stupid. What was it called? It was like the fear collection bundle, they called it on there. So he directed a movie called La Abuela, which is the grandmother. It was in a bundle with another movie called Venus and Venecia Frenia. Good luck with that. I don't know how to pronounce it. But
on today's Spanish with Jeff, we're
so
learning
Alex de la Iglesia was the director of that one, and he's a pretty well-known Spanish director. So that's why I was like, okay. Oh, and then Wame Balaguero was the other director of the Venus movie. So the other director of Wreck. But yeah, no, I don't. Anyway, I like foreign language movies, and horror is usually pretty good. So I wanted to give those 3 a chance. I just got that like recently because I was waiting for a sale. But
yeah, I need to look into that stuff. I absolutely loved Manuela Velasco. I don't know what else she's done, but it's the main actress in this movie.
Yeah,
and she's phenomenal. I think
she's great.
And very attractive. So
yes.
So the gist of this movie, Jeff, is we are on it's obviously, we said it's found footage, and the way they do it is through a TV camera. So there's this crew. Do you remember the Dave Attell show called Insomniac?
Loved Insomnia.
God, I loved it, dude. It came on like Sundays at midnight or something.
Yeah, it was always on Comedy Central.
Yeah, and I loved it. I loved that show, and it was basically Dave Attell. It was sort of in that Dirty Jobs realm, where but it was, but I mean more funny.
Yeah,
and it was Dave Attell doing like a third shift work with people,
right?
And so that's basically what this is. They're filming for a show called While You Were Sleeping, and it's her as the reporter, and then you have the cameraman, and they're riding along with they're spending the night with a fire department.
Correct.
And we get about 5-8 minutes with them just like you getting kind of used to the found footage stuff. And then they get a call, and they go to this apartment building where something's happening, and everything kind of goes all to hell from there.
Yeah, I mean, For me, this movie's setup works like as one of the better ones for a found footage movie. Let's say this before we get too far into it. Did you see this first or did you see Quarantine first?
I feel like I saw Wreck first.
Okay.
Because I feel like it was it was years before I saw Quarantine because I had already seen Wreck and I didn't really want to.
Okay. Because I'm pretty sure I saw Quarantine first.
I mean, that makes sense. But see, I was a little older than you and I was really wrapped up into this foreign stuff. So I got more, I got probably more ahead of it than you did.
Yeah, I would say so. And, I saw Quarantine first. I remember seeing the trailer on TV, and boy, does the trailer. That is one of the ones that upsets me the most about movies because they basically lead with the most important part to wrap everything up, right? The trailer.
Quarantine shows the end of the movie in the trailer.
That's
I don't
what
know
I
about
mean.
Wreck.
Oh, no, I don't know about Wreck. I'm talking about Quarantine's trailer ruining everything.
No, it does. But I don't know about Wreck if Wreck shows the end of the movie as well. So I don't want to, I should have watched the Wreck trailer because I wanted to slam the Quarantine. But if Wreck does it, then I'm not going to slam Quarantine.
You could slam them both.
Well, the Wreck poster, one of the posters does
geez.
show the end of the movie.
That was
and both of
thing.
them. Wreck and Quarantine, they both show the end of the movie. Now you don't know it's the end of the movie, and maybe that's a spoiler, but it's not really because you don't know what happens after it or anything like that. And the end of the very end of the movie is not really the spoiler part.
Right.
In Wreck specifically, it's like the last 15 minutes. You get the good juicy stuff, and so. I mean, basically, if you like Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead, I mean, I feel like this is kind of on lines with that, right? Like fast zombies. I mean, I guess they're more infected. They're not zombies, but
correct. Yeah, that's the big difference we get between this version and Quarantine. They're technically just infected. I mean, I guess they are in that, but we'll just say they're more like, some kind of infection until we get into spoilers.
Yeah.
But then that's more so the second episode, so it doesn't matter.
Well, not really. The first episode, the first movie.
Yeah, I guess they do talk about it.
I mean, tells you why.
Right.
Just because me and Jason down at the dungeon got in an argument last week, Quarantine's ending is different, right?
Yeah.
Okay. He said it was shot for shot the same movie. I mean, up until the end, right?
Yeah. I mean,
we'll find out because we're going to be covering Quarantine after this. So, but just in my head, I wanted the confirmation that I was correct.
You're always correct.
Thanks. So you get a really good cast of characters in this movie. Really good. I mean, and honestly, for me, that's saying a lot for like a foreign movie where they don't speak your language and it's not dubbed. It's just really good, and you can connect with all of the people in it, and I think that's a pretty awesome thing that they were able to achieve that for some schlub like me,
Yeah. It's everybody, gets their little snippets of time in this movie as far as characters go. And, we sort of get a little mystery type thing, trying to figure it out. And then we get everybody kind of like turning against each other at one point. And then just it goes all out at that point.
Yeah, if you like paranoia horror, this is a really good paranoia horror. So let's go ahead and we'll warn you spoilers right now, and we're going to talk about stuff. So if this is the end of your journey with us this episode, thank you. Follow us on Night of the Nerdy Laser on all the socials, and like and subscribe that YouTube channel. That can really help us out, and leave a review.
Yeah, and I would say, if you stop here, come back and finish the episode after you go watch the movie.
For sure. I mean, as of this recording, I mean, we're pretty much going to say they're all on Tubi because I don't think they're leaving anytime soon.
Yeah.
I mean, usually they put up a 20-day warning, so
I
hopefully they'll
couldn't
be
imagine
available.
them going down before the Halloween season.
Yeah, so watch them, and then you can hang out with us. You can send questions and or thoughts about these movies to nightofthenerdylazar@gmail.com. So we would appreciate that. All right, spoilers. Spoilers. I I mean, this movie moves so fast.
Yeah, everything about it.
It's much faster than the second one. But not saying, I mean, we'll go into the second one next episode. But I mean, like, this movie just moves super fast. It's really solid. And the bits of information you get between like the little girl being sick, then the dog being sick, and and then people getting bit. And I mean, my gosh, the first major death we see is the guy just falling through that staircase.
Yeah,
And just landing there. And that's a great scene.
Yeah, because technically he wasn't dead up until that point, but yeah.
Well, and the thing is they're dead for just a minute, right? Like they come back very quick.
Yeah, well, and then they even make it a point in the movie. They say like blood type also sort of affects how fast they could kind of become whatever they become.
Yeah.
Which I think is cool because then you're not like, okay, this person turned and they're going to be back right away. We need to expect that. It leaves you that element of surprise. Like you don't know if they're going to come back or when they're going to come back. Like it could happen when you're like barricading yourself in. It could happen like after you've left the body there for a while. Kind of like when we find out when the doctor's trying to take care of him in that like back storage room. Like they kind of come up from the table that they're handcuffed to and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's fast too, like you're saying, like with just the whole movie. And then there is some like gnarly gore scenes in this movie.
Oh yeah.
Like there's some crazy ones, like the back to the point of that room. They're in that room and the guy has the like bite mark on his face and the doctor's putting like a anesthetic in it. And he's like, like kind of like in pain because it hurt. But that flesh wound looks like crazy amazing.
And then the bigger lady in the hallway of her apartment when they go in that.
Right.
Like the sound work is amazing in this movie. In the whole, well, really the first two, at least. And
there is a lot of screaming. So if that bothers you, like,
I mean, it's true. I mean, if the normal found footage stuff bothers you, you're not going to like this movie. I mean, it's a lot of jerking, a lot of shaking. There's a lot of screaming. There's a lot of yelling. But I mean, it fits in the environment they're in. It's not just for, nothing.
Yeah, no, it all works, I think, for what it is. Like it's not out of place.
So we find out that the dog is at the vet. And then we find out that the dog, I don't know which came first. I guess the little girl came first, right? Because the dog was infected and the little girl was infected because they were just saying the mother was holding the little girl saying she had a fever, but nobody said anything really because it was tonsillitis.
Yeah. So, all right. So we find out, biggest spoiler here it comes. I'm going to say it because it'll help us explain this. It turns out the infection is demonic. It's a demonic
possession.
And what happened is there was a priest up in the penthouse suite of this apartment complex. He had this girl up there and they were trying to remove the possession like medically rather than like spiritually, essentially. Right.
They're trying to create an antidote.
Yeah, an anti like possession serum essentially. And so they're doing that, but I think, something must have gotten out from this thing. And the dog got infected by it. The dog infected the girl. And then, from there, it just kind of unfolds. They kind of think they have an idea how it spreads, but they don't. And then they do. sort of at the end. Obviously, it's saliva and bites and stuff like that. So it uses like the zombie
It's not
tropes.
airborne.
Right. They use like the zombie type spread on this, which is cool because then you're like kind of familiar with zombies, but the possession angle is still pretty cool too. And it coming from Spanish, film, religion's big over there. So this probably hits home like.
And it's not like we just find this out in one little clip. I mean,
No,
it's the last
it's the
15
whole
minutes of the
movie.
movie. They're in this penthouse, and there's all these things around. Like, I mean, just like
Medical.
work tables and medical stuff and all that. So, so that's very cool.
The set design's like amazing up there. Like that room.
It
with,
really
like,
is.
Newspaper clippings, medical facility, like all that, all those different things. It's so cool.
I'll say this. I mean, I think this is one of those movies where, especially Rec 1 and 2, I can say this for, is like the building is as much of a character as the people.
Yeah, no, like, and it almost feels like a Resident Evil game because when you're playing those games, you go somewhere, there's zombies, you can't go that way, so you got to go back, and then something will happen, and then you could get through and stuff like that. It feels like that, and it's so claustrophobic because it's just this narrow stairway, and then some rooms essentially, and then so some rooms get blocked off because they have a person trapped in there or a monster in there, and like it feels that, but it's a lot. There's so much you feel like tired with the cast when they're like running and stuff and trying to get away, and it's always a fight and a struggle to kind of get away from one of the demons and stuff like that, and it's wild. And the pacing of this movie I think is like one of its strengths. Like it doesn't really waste any time with any of its action or any of its shots, like because it sets that mood where you're like kind of settled and you're like, oh, this is going to be fun, like following the firemen and stuff like that. Oh, cool. We get to see a little emergency call. And then it just like, boom, right then and there goes like full on and does not stop until the end of the movie.
Well, I like that the firemen didn't know what they were getting into either,
Right.
Because this was very early on in the night. And then by the end of the night, I mean, it becomes a full-on, like, quarantine situation.
Yeah, I mean, that's where we get the name in the American version. So,
yes. So, in the American version, spoiler for the American version, but it's just a virus, right?
Pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, too. See, Jason, I was right.
It's just a virus.
It'll come out. We'll watch Quarantine, and it'll be a whole religion thing.
I don't think it is because I remember my buddy.
No, it's not, because the second one, the term Quarantine 2 is completely separate.
Right. Yeah. Because my buddy James like hated the religious aspect of it, and I'm like, no, I think that like makes this movie like it makes it so much
I dig it.
Cooler. Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, I think I can speak for Jeff when I say watch these movies with us, and I mean, they're just really good movies. I mean, they're well worth the watch, and you won't regret it. Any final words for the first Rec?
No, I don't think so. I mean, enjoy it. Like it's a good like Halloween horror watch because you could watch it, and I'd say you could watch the first two together, and it plays a little bit better if you do.
Probably, yes. I mean, I don't know about that fourth one, but you can watch 1 and 2 back to back. I mean, they continue, from one to the other.
Right.
So, yeah. Thanks for listening. This is part of our spooktacular month here on the podcast. We hope you like it. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, watch us on YouTube. Jeff, if they don't want to support us in any other way, give them one perfect way that they could support.
They could go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify, subscribe to the show, totally free to you guys. And while you're there, give us a 15 seconds of your time and give us a 5-star review and rating, and it helps us and the algorithms, as we always say, helps the word get around about our show.
That's right. And because we want to keep doing this for you guys and for us, but we really think we can bring some entertainment to you guys on a shitty work day or just on a normal day.
Yeah, we want to build that community.
Yeah. So follow us, Night of the Nerdy Laser, on all the socials. And what should they do until next time, Jeff?
They should keep it bloody.
Because somebody has to.